yes, another type of headache that's getting whacked with a metal plate. Whack. Can I eat the file? I want to eat the file. What?
Going down to get whacked in the head with something like that.
It depends on like where it is. Like if it's just like the flat, like the middle part, I think so. But if it's like the ends, no.
Now rebooted in emergency mode with one directive: to keep you alive on an alien world. Please refer to the databank for detailed survival advice. Good luck.
Before, if anyone asks, I have played this game before, but I have just never finished it. Hello, hello. Hello, Aurora. Hello. This is bullshit game, 2002. I don't know why I said that, but you know what, we'll let that go with it. I'm not fully awake. This is gonna be fun. Div.
Copper is an essential component of all powered equipment. Your probability of survival has just increased to unlikely.
Too unlikely, okay. I love how I was play testing this game earlier, just to learn some souls. Well, earlier, like last week, I mean, right? And I told Z, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be play testing this game. The mother ducker stopped what he was doing entirely and just said, oh, I have to watch this.
Oh, that's right. I thought I gave you the metal sample before.
Hmm?
I forgot you pick up metal salvage. Go to this and titanium.
But how is everyone today? What is everyone's plans for today?
New blueprint acquired.
Saturday. That Friday, Sunday, Monday. Am I really quiet?
Speak again. Say something.
Yeah.
It could just be OBS. But he is like kind of loud on my end, but I can turn him up via Discord. Hold on. There you go. Mother Duffel is either really quiet or very hyper.
Sure, we'll go with one of those.
I'm not wrong. I don't want it to be... Okay, there we go. We'll do that.
I have arrived.
Yay!
You're loud.
I'm loud. What the fuck? I just woke up.
Ah, don't bite me in the ankles! No! Not biting in the ankles.
Yeah, could you try to take this metal?
Coming for your ankles.
But hello, my love. How are you?
Good. I had some trouble falling asleep last night, but once I was out like a light.
New blueprint acquired.
Oh, you're upside down in a cage.
Damn it.
I have to fix that. Hold on. Hello, Jeremy. How are you?
Salvage tech
If I'm gonna be in the cage, I'm gonna say
data
something
biological
fucked up so I
data.
deserve it.
Nah, you're out of the taste now. For now.
No, he looks better in behind a cage.
Damn. Steel really just said he looked better behind bars.
Now, see, now you're just putting words in my mouth.
Sure, sure, sure.
Anyone should be caged should be me.
You sure about that? I mean, I can make that happen.
Yes.
Okay.
Make it happen.
Okay. There you go.
Perfect.
I'm doing, I would say, okay-ish. I'm a little bit in pain. But that more like this really bad soreness.
Continuing to monitor.
And yes, I am playing the Wizard of subnautica, aka Ocean Hell Space. Oh, hello.
We'll complete this game one day.
I'll play it one day.
Z, my love, you have to finish Alien Isolation first.
True, true.
And you can't.
I might play that today.
I thought you were going to play Mass Effect.
I don't know.
Pat Pat.
I'm not feeling very Mass Effect right now.
Fail. No, don't run away from me. I want to see what you are.
No, not allowed.
There. Rabbit way.
Well, time to go to the ship.
Huh?
Time to go to the ship.
I haven't had another sub yet.
Too bad. Go to the ship.
Nope. So we need to do another sub and then I will. She already did a resub, so I just need one more and then I'll go to the sip.
Don't tempt me.
I said nothing.
No, tempt him. Keep tempting him.
No.
Excuse me.
And temptations lead to idiocy. And we'll end on that note.
Damn.
I will say, like, if
Please
I...
take it away.
What am I taking away?
Detecting sulfur.
Alright, Lavender, let's go. He said to take it away.
Huh?
Sulfur is an essential
I
component.
said
Go.
take it away. I
Huh?
didn't say who or what.
Huh?
Sulfur-based wiring kits are an essential component of many habitat modules.
Huh? You guys know that's gonna be a YouTube video, right?
Yeah, you
Oh.
also realize you have both of us here.
True. But that's
This
more
is your
so...
fault.
That's more so because you guys know if someone dips one more sub, I might have to go see the Leviathan and I might be screaming bloody murder.
I was invited here. I don't know what you're talking about.
Nah,
YouTube.
you knew I was trying to pull you into the VC with all this, motherfucker.
I was invited. I'm fine.
Do you want to go back upside down?
No.
Mm-hmm.
You two can eat my ass.
My short.
Your tasty shorts.
Hey, yo.
Am I? la 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 la. This is
I
me.
kind of want to go back to bed.
Go back to bed.
I was thinking about it. I just finished brewing coffee.
What? No. No. No.
No, it's not nighttime.
Everything was so much better.
What?
Hey, honey, I think there's a fish there.
Something happened. I heard something happen. Bluffs!
Oh, well,
No! No!
well, honey.
It wasn't caused by me this time either.
Thank you for the sub! What?
Oh look, candy.
Candy whale.
I have a cup filled with candy and 2 bags of candy and
Can I at least make flails first so I'm not going into complete darkness?
also got some watermelon flavored candy dates.
I say yes. Make some flares first.
Means I found an excuse not to go to work.
Oh, but no, 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 no.
The real question is, why don't you build a knife already?
Can I?
Here, fishy.
No. No, I don't have silicone.
Oh. Oh, I tried you
Detecting increased local radiation levels.
What?
The trend is consistent with damage to the Aurora's drive core sustained
Fine.
during planet fall.
Here, fishy, fishy, fishy.
I kind of like how you always have that, though.
Yeah.
That's very useful.
Like, in a new game, you gotta craft them.
Yeah. Barbara, go away. You smell like sushi, and I'm not afraid to eat sushi. Even if you're spicy sushi. Yes, everyone, I will be saying things very unhingedly.
Spicy sushi's the best sushi.
I had something like the other day that was like kind of like soy sauce, but it was like more wet on the sushi. I don't remember what it's called. But that was like when my dad got me sushi the other day, or like a couple weeks ago, and it was good. Normally I don't like spicy stuff, that's because it makes me feel very, for some reason, some spicy stuff like pepper makes me feel very ill. So maybe I'm slightly allergic to some pepper.
Oxygen.
Because like, I think Z and I were in a car when I had some black pepper on it. And I just started to not feel well.
I think
don't
you
know
have an
what that is.
intolerance. I think you have an intolerance to black peppercorn.
Maybe. But then like also some food at some times it don't agree with me. Like for example, if I actually eat bananas in the morning, I will throw up. But if I eat them anytime other than in the morning, I'll be fine.
Interesting.
New blueprint acquired.
I will say, out of a lot of survival games, like building mechanics,
New blueprint.
I say I like this same building mechanics a lot. Cause you actually have to go out and look for stuff. I'm heading out to the war, slowly but surely. I'm being a sickin' about it.
Hey, honey,
Yeah.
you made the deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. But I didn't feel anyone would say, okay, bet. But then I forget this is my community. I forget. Does anything actually happen if you have like Twister A's?
I believe if you get a aquarium, you can put them in there and they'll hatch.
Okay. Also, for some reason, soundless are not working. Let me be right here.
Life on this planet grows in
You haven't found
unusually
Timmy
distinct
yet.
and diverse
Timmy?
ecological biomes.
Who the
Further
Yeah,
study
Timmy.
Alright, one moment. Let me
It's not
fist.
Timmy.
Let
What
me
do you call
fist.
him?
Bitch.
You call him bitch.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let
I call him
me
Timmy.
fist soundless real quick. That's because I want to be able to hear when people do stuff because it hasn't been
You
work.
are.
Huh?
No, you finish first.
No, like ever since the name change, they did work for a little bit and then they stopped working. So I want to make sure they work real quick. And they like the sauce, and they to
I
be
was gonna say
mine.
you can kill the Reaper.
I have no knife.
Timmy.
Well, you also need like a I forget, but
Stasis
there's
gun.
yeah, the stasis gun.
To me.
I can't remember. I knew it was the pulse rifle.
Instead of going back to bed and ruining my schedule, I'm just gonna drink my coffee and shut the fuck up.
I mean, yeah, that'll probably be best because you would ruin your sleeping cycle.
I've already kind of done that just by staying up late.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, I wasn't trying to stay up late, but I still did.
Hmm. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find. Well. Where is the setup? There we go. Audio. No, it'll be in alerts. Alright, and then I'm going to test something real quick.
I love you.
I love you too. I'm going to test this. There you go. Oh, it works now. Hopefully.
Amended.
Oh boy.
Well, something courtesy of Celine Nova. Are you ready?
No.
Boobs are like oobleck. You squish, they soft. You smack, they hard.
Someone flip that, please.
I thought they were like Jello.
What the?
You got this, honey. I believe in you.
I said admitted. Okay.
I haven't seen Timmy yet. Aw.
Okay, this is close to the boat I would did. That's for comfortable bit.
There
Think
you
she
go.
found Timmy. She found Timmy. She found Timmy.
You don't see me, Timmy. You don't see me, Timmy. You don't see me.
I feel evil for laughing.
Nah, it's fine. This is why I did this. See, I opened my mouth and I said, okay, I bet no one will do this. Nah, you mother duffer said bet.
What do you mean making a Z Gaston? What?
Oh, because of the video I made. Babylon Zone, because there's the audio of like the Beauty and the Beast song
Oh, I
going
see,
on.
I see, I see. I just watched it.
Okay, that was enough. I was around
Hey,
there.
I want that one.
I mean, you kind of did.
I did
Oh, I
kind of
died.
do that.
You're gonna die.
Have you tried not dying?
Suss you.
Question is, what all did you lose?
I'm not playing in survival. Freedom is
Right.
keep inventory. I just don't like I tried playing this game in survival with my dad once, and it was not fun.
Thirty seconds.
So how was your time near the ship?
I don't want to do it dead.
Wasn't Timmy nice?
Timmy wanted the fights.
Well, can you blame him?
No.
I rest my case. Timmy wanted ghost nuggets.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
He kind of did, didn't he?
What did that though? I forget. Do resources respawn or no?
I don't know if they're supposed to or not. That's something I've never seen though.
Huh? The shuttle bud?
Yeah.
You know what you should be doing, honey?
What?
You should be streaming this to the Discord so we can see it.
I don't know how well my computer will like that.
Never mind. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
It was the Infinity when I had my model, but it could have been my model, but you know, I never want to test my limits.
Yeah, never mind. Never mind. I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's limits. That's my job.
True.
Don't agree.
Pushing Lavender's limits is actually my job.
Well, he does it as my
mine
sibling.
Goes for, yeah, but mine goes for like everybody.
Yeah.
Very different context. Got you.
Yeah. Oh my god. Z.
Yeah.
What is everyone's favorite survival game?
Minecraft.
Watching Z try to dodge chocolates that throw at him.
Why would you want to throw stuff at me? I'm awesome.
This is just Baba's toy.
I don't know about that.
I'm sorry, I'm taking your
Yeah.
toy.
What?
Does that? Yes, everyone. I always like to ask everyone's favorite something when I'm playing a game like this. My favorite survival, yeah, Minecraft or what was that one survival game?
Dark is a good game.
We can't really play it just because it's kind of this trappy nowadays. But one's human, I'll say, for like survival game.
Yeah.
What is a lawn dog then? Is that the one where you're trying to survive in like Alaska?
It's all winter. I don't know where it's located though.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of the white one.
Or it's actually plane crash.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Canada.
Yes, it's in Canada. Oh, okay. Simi.
Yeah, I remember trying to go back to that game after.
I want to play it one day. Do you think I will be able to play it? Oh no. Like, is there anything in it that might, you know? Because some people say it's a horror game.
From what I remember, I don't think you would have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any body horror, but I haven't like watched the playthrough and I haven't gotten very far.
The only person I kind of watched play it was Stacey Plays. But that was more just because I used to watch them play Minecraft, but it was like Dogcraft, which is one of the series I need to like make Z watch.
What series?
Dogcraft.
I'm down to watch it with you.
It's like imagine Minecraft Diaries, but more so like with the like world building, but that's it. But more later on, like way later on, like after like the 20th episode.
So do you want to watch some of that tonight?
Maybe. It just depends. Just because I have been having a migraine lately, like off and on. But it could just be because I always get migraines once it starts to become summertime. Because of the light, the sun. So hopefully I can actually hang out tonight.
If not, no big deal. I understand.
I want a plushie of one of these guys. Div. The long dot the Isle. I want to play the Isle one day. I have half a Titans. I want to play the Isle.
I own Project Zomboid.
At least I thought.
Huh?
I'm very bad at it, but I own Project Zomboid.
What were you
Green
saying?
Hell.
Green Hell? My dad played that once. It looks interesting.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut him off.
You're fine.
You good?
I started playing a Fallout game before.
Yeah, that didn't last long.
No, and honestly, I might play it again, but I think I might add it just to story games, not horror. Like, yes, there are horror elements, but not really, from my understanding. It's more story based.
Yeah.
So I'll probably just add it to, like, after I finish either Monster Hunter, because I'm going to play, so I do play throughout all the Mass Effect games, so that's going to probably take me a while. Baba, stop biting me in the butt. I'm not into that. No one slipped
Biting
that.
her butt is my job. Am I wrong?
No.
I rest my case.
But, yeah, I'll probably add it into, like, so for anyone that doesn't know, during, when I finish a game, like a story game or anything like that, I will normally run a poll in my server, in my Discord server, that people can choose from. Now, this game didn't win the horror game, but I'm just like, you know what, I'm getting into the mood to play it, and since summertime is near, I'm like, why the hell not? Because this is, like, what I would call a game you play during summertime.
I got something you can play in the summertime.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think you'll enjoy it. Damn it, I wish I had money so I could come see you.
One day, my love. Yeah, I think I have it as a wishlist item on Steam, so maybe one day I'll actually get it.
Caution. Continued degradation of the Aurora's drive core may result in a quantum detonation. Continuing to monitor.
Now, my thing is, I don't know if Z was in the VC at the time or, like, was away, but I brought up the point, too, that this, since it's a very much game that you have to kind of drain out, I'm obviously going to stream everything, but I'm just like, I don't know how well it's going to be, because it's probably going to take me a more while. I don't want to, like, because some stuff you're going to have to do, and then if you did a certain item, it will just progress the story, and I don't remember what those items are.
30 seconds.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Why are you sorry?
His brain just completely blanked.
It's fine. This is probably gonna be probably one of the longer series on, like, wise. Because I think the longest so far out of, like, horror games 12 was probably Bendy Intimacy. But that's just because I played Sapper to Saptor in that one. I need repair tool and a knife, so I need silicone rubber. But I do have a Path of Titans, which I do want to stream at some point. I just want someone to, like, who knows how to play the game to be, like, playing with me. If that makes sense.
I will be right back.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like how in this game you kind of do see like the monsters hunting each other.
Mhm.
So it is not, very like what's the word I'm looking for? It's more realistic than most survival games.
That's why I like Green Hell.
You see animals fighting each other.
No, but survival aspect.
Mm.
Better than a lot of the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically potentially anything can kill you.
Huh? Say that again?
And pretty much like almost anything can kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Be advised, a common complication for cave divers is loss of orientation, followed by eventual asphyxiation.
Well, I don't have to worry about that because I essentially have teeth inventory all over the whole. No, Baba. Go away, Baba.
I don't remember.
I think it's more like decoration if I remember right. So I haven't played this game in probably 2 years. Or more.
I like it better when the games tell you like when's the last time. Oh yeah, it does.
Well,
February 17th, 2020 was the last time I played this.
I played it on like PlayStation 4.
I am back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Anyone got some clear change?
I mean, I technically have a little bit.
No. Anyone but you?
Anyone but me got it.
Yes.
I don't have much.
Head pats.
I'm a broke bitch.
Same. Well, I'm saving my money for one the Switch 2, then the new like life simulator that's coming out next week.
I'd love to save my fucking money, but my roommates keep asking for it.
Mm-mm.
Sorry, I got a little bit heated there.
You're fine.
I'm superhuman.
I'm looking for somebody with some superhuman gifts.
Oh,
Some
she died.
superhero, some fairy tale bliss. Somebody died? What
No,
happened?
Seed died. The thing that made me,
Lied.
yeah, the thing that made me go zoom.
I thought you said she died.
Head pats.
And I was like, who died? Uh-oh.
A lot of people died.
Did Barbara die?
Z, I need you to learn how to
Yeah.
say no.
Yeah.
Say Celeste.
Yeah.
But there's other things that is why it's kind of hard to say no.
Sorry.
Yeah. I am very bad at that word.
I mean, same.
Do eat those.
Huh?
The glowy things.
Yeah, I don't have a knife yet. They're used for many different things.
'Cause I thought they were able to use silicone, but
They could be, but I don't remember. I'm gonna be honest.
because you can pick them off. You use the knife to get the seed.
Oh yeah, I see. This is why I need people
Ow.
in movies. You okay?
Yeah, my shoulder just popped.
Good
You good?
pop or bad pop?
More of like
Oh, that okay. My
more
inventory's full.
grinding noise.
So miss of both. One day I'll go in there, and not the day that people will hear me panic very badly.
Go in there.
They're radiation in there, my love.
Oh. Never mind.
That's what I remember. Like
Radiation next to the ship too.
yeah. But I'm saying like instant death radiation.
Oh,
If I remember right.
radiation too.
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you more. There. Hello, Barbara. You don't see me. Yes, they still hunt for your food. You don't see me, Barbara. I forgot you can pick these up.
Yeah, they take a lot of space.
Yeah. Lubricant. God damn.
I got some.
Yeah?
I
Yeah.
need some.
Lubricant is essential in construction of vehicles.
Not I
and
got
power
some. I
plants.
need some.
Weapons were removed from standard survival
For
blueprints following
reasons
the massacre
Uh-huh.
on Abraxas Prime.
That will soon
The
become
knife
apparent.
remains the only exception.
See, you're not yourself when you're trying.
Jesus.
This is so much more painful to listen to.
Is it cringe? I'm sorry. Sorry for being cringe.
I mean, you usually just straight up say things,
Yeah.
and now it's like you're trying to hold back, and that's worse than you just fucking saying it.
Fine, I'll say it.
We gotta fuck.
Ah.
The fabricator draws from available data to provide environment-appropriate equipment using locally available materials. For your safety, this setting cannot be overridden.
Long just sighing because of him and not me.
I
Both.
think she's sighing because of both.
Both.
I've done nothing
Bullshit.
yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Hello, Baba, too.
I don't. Oh, I hit my mic.
Careful.
Can I just say I'm so glad that no one's like can. I know there's a 1,000 sold version for this game, and I'm so glad I don't have it on. I'm so glad.
I need to play this with the multiplayer mod.
I want to see you play with 1,000 soul, so I can totally not.
Yeah, I think my shit would still work on 5 if I was in.
Maybe. But wouldn't that be
It'd
fun?
be unplayable.
Oxygen.
I had a dream last night that I had my electric bike and I put a basket on it
Yeah?
and I started delivering for Uber Eats.
I mean, I think you could do that.
Or DoorDash. Either one works.
Yeah.
I'm technically qualified to go and do orders for DoorDash now.
And that was my new job.
Honestly, you still probably have to have your old job, but I feel like that also pay well if you do that. Maybe. Give me this. One more. I'm stupid.
Give me a man after
Midnight. I'm turning him into a musical nerd.
Away. Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
What do you mean musical note?
Musical nerd.
A nerd for musicals.
Yes.
Oh. I hate musicals.
Uh-huh.
I grew up with a mother that watched musicals 24/7.
Lifepod secondary systems online. Running full environment diagnostic and outputting results to databank.
This is Aurora. Distress signal received. Rescue operation will be dispatched to your location in 9 hours. Continue to monitor for emergency transmissions from other life pods.
Yo, you fixed the escape pod.
Mm-hmm. Ba 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 ba.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Ba. Copyright.
Copyright.
We're gonna do this. No. Then we're gonna put this over here. Baba, stay away from me. Baba. Bad Baba. Bad. I am not food. Bad.
Fish are friends, not food.
There.
Will occur within 2 hours.
Infected.
Barbara wanted some. Why was Barbara green?
Hmm?
Barbara had green polka dots.
It's infected.
Oh shit.
You're on a planet with a virus.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've been told that I'm a virus.
What now?
I've been told that I'm a virus, an infection on the world.
No.
So I completely relate to this virus.
Exercise quotient by 500%. Data indicates that
See,
swimming was your
anything I
favorite
could say
activity.
would just be.
Be sure to vary your routine for uniform.
I mean, I can say something, but everyone will come out of the woodwork and fight me.
I'll drop kick you.
I mean, I'm a virus to humanity. Hee hee.
That being said,
No.
I'm not flexible enough to be able to drop kick anyone.
She's short. You'll be able to reach. Don't
Ah!
worry.
I'm short.
You might be right on that one.
I'm short.
I hear noises.
Fuck you.
That's all I'm hearing too.
New blueprint acquired.
The voices.
Oh, sea glide.
Yeah. I can just zoom.
Gas. I wanna step on the gas. Na, 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 na. Time is flying by today. I don't like it. It's already 9 o'clock. I've been awake for an hour.
I've been awake since like 4 a.m. Yeah? What?
What's that? Have you?
Yeah.
I wish you slept more.
I know, but that's just when my body told me to get up, and I
I get that.
And I'm one of the people that once my body say get up, I can't just go back to sleep, sadly. I wish I could. I wish I could.
The Sea Glide will increase your effective exploration range. For your safety, please pack supplies for long journeys and stay within 5 kilometers of the nearest life pod or habitat.
I forgot this had a map.
It has a map? Oh shit, it has a map.
I'm not using it right now just because I do want to save it for when I'm like, you know, adventuring. Like away from the theme.
Seconds.
Oh, but I need to do this. What is everyone's plans for today?
Work.
Fail.
Scream.
Mm-hmm.
I got no life.
I wonder if there's any repo mods I have updated.
I don't know.
I might see in a little bit. I still plan on playing Dead by Daylight maybe today. But since there was an update, I don't really want to test my computer.
I need to launch OBS and Mass Effect. And I need to set up an overlay.
I'm off. Okay. We'll do... Oh, that's the thing. We'll do this, and then we'll pause the game for now.
Excuse me. Sorry. Oh shit!
What?
It's my affiliate anniversary.
Oh.
Oh shit!
This is Ozzy from the cafeteria. What the hell, guys? They didn't warn us this might happen. Our pod was almost crushed by the Seamoth Bay on the way down. Now we're hanging on the edge of a cave system, and this grim-looking snake thing's trying to eat through the hull. Come get us
I
already.
didn't realize that was today.
Signal location uploaded to PDA.
Alright. Where is it? Oh, over there. Okay, but we'll do that next time. Save.